In what has become a peculiar yet predictable trend, the churches of Omaha are not just places of worship, but arenas for showcasing how woke one can be. Gone are the days of traditional sermons that focused on scripture. Enter the era where every Sunday feels like an episode of the woke Olympics with pastors outdoing each other in the art of contrition. Imagine walking into a church expecting to hear about the Good Samaritan, only to be confronted by a pastor who seems less like a spiritual leader and more like a caricature from a late-night comedy sketch. Here in Omaha, the sanctity of the sermon has been replaced by what can only be described as a bizarre apology marathon. Congregants are now regularly asked to apologize to everyone imaginable, from historical figures to abstract societal constructs. The clergy of these establishments could give used car salesmen a run for their money with their overly enthusiastic, almost manic delivery. Their smiles, plastered on like masks, hint at a deeper discomfort or perhaps an underlying sense of irony that they're too woke to acknowledge. These leaders, often seen as lacking a few synapses or perhaps overly calculating, engage their flock with a fervor that seems more about outwoking their competitors than spreading the gospel. The authenticity of these services is as questionable as a politician's promise. Every sermon seems less about spiritual growth and more about who can virtue signal the loudest. It's become a circus where the traditional message of love and forgiveness is overshadowed by a relentless competition to appear the most enlightened, the most repentant, the most woke. Critics argue that these churches have lost their way, morphing into echo chambers of political correctness rather than sanctuaries of faith. It's not just a Sunday gathering anymore. It's an ideological battleground where the weapon of choice is not scripture but social justice buzzwords. The irony? In trying to be everything to everyone, these churches risk becoming nothing at all, except perhaps a satirical commentary on the dilution of religious identity in modern times. In the end, attending church in Omaha might leave one feeling less spiritually enriched and more like they've just watched a particularly unfunny stand-up routine, where the punchline was lost somewhere between "I'm sorry" and "Can we all just get along?" If this is the future of faith in Nebraska, one has to wonder if the devil himself isn't chuckling at the divine comedy unfolding in these sanctuaries.